old heart impacts past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here, and now. I know this series has been on a small hiatus for a little bit of time. However, I was recently thinking about this earlier today, and I believe I have a good estimate of where we did leave off of. Now, let us begin with a small time skip. If I remember correctly, Midoriya had just gone through the entire treatment, or was injected with the Thing virus, or a basically artificially altered version of the Thing's blood. And his body began to show side effects of what could have been a quirk, when in reality, Midoriya is unaware of the danger he is in. Now, that being said, Midoriya, over the course of a 5 to 8 month period, is beginning his own training, along with actually beginning to get stronger. Now, he's also trying to learn about his quote-unquote quirk, and things have begun to take a strange turn. Over this amount of time, Midoriya, he's felt his hunger increase. He's had weird dreams, loss of appetite, loss of taste, and he's even had strange, what could be considered to be nightmares, or possibly even delusions. Along with that mental connection to the test subject, or the animal they were conducting experiments on that has the genetic code, or the virus that Midoriya was also injected with. Now, over the course of this time, Midoriya slowly becomes a bit more unhinged. However, it happens gradually, chipping away at him every single day. And Midoriya, he doesn't even realize himself changing. In fact, we actually have him today, as it's early in the morning. Midoriya has woken up late, and he immediately smashes his arm down on his alarm clock, breaking it as he does actually jump out of bed. Him throwing his hand outwards and actually having it extend, opening up his closet to actually just grab a shirt, and he simply just pulls it back over to him. With his other fingers, he actually just zoom his hand outwards towards his closet, grabbing pants, shoes, and other things he would need, along with his backpack. Midoriya quickly putting them all on, as he actually does get outside, running out of the apartment and just beginning to take off into a full-on sprint. Now, we don't actually cut to Midoriya running on the street, as his body is beginning to adapt to the situation. And Midoriya, he begins to run faster, and he can actually feel it. His legs are getting longer and augmenting or changing so he can take better strides. And eventually it does go to where Midoriya, he's actually running on all fours, and at very high speeds. Now, a lot of people do find this weird, mistaking Midoriya for a cat man, or a man with a cat quirk who's in a hurry. It doesn't seem all that odd. And Midoriya does eventually get to school. Now, as soon as he actually does arrive, you do actually have his hands, and his feet. Midoriya actually taking a deep breath as he does actually open the classroom door. And everyone actually does stare at Midoriya, watching as he actually does bring up his left hand, and bring it down to a fist, taking a deep breath in as he takes a deep breath out. his hand then returning to normal, as he actually just walk over to his seat, telling the teacher sorry he's late. And the teacher actually does treat Midoriya differently, instructing him that that's quite alright, however not to make it a habit. Now, with that, Midoriya does actually sit down, and as soon as he does, he actually does lean forwards, and just begins to try and think about what was going on. He had another one of those weird nightmares, but he can't remember anything. Vague glimpses and things that he can barely recall. They're vague and weird. There's that test tube one, then there's many others. And then there's that one where he just feels like he's out in the Arctic, frozen in ice. Or he was just left there. It was scary. Then people just took him away. He doesn't at all know what's going on. And then there's that one dream. Midoriya actually somewhat just, shaking, thinking about it. Now, with that, Midoriya does go through somewhat of a normal day. People being nicer to him and talking with him more. And Midoriya, he actually does begin to head home for the day. As Bakugo, he wanted to try and mess with Deku. However, he himself does actually need to go start training. Now, with that being said, let us cut back to earlier this morning, whenever Deku was in a hurry, with one of the researchers who were on the project, and who personally helped inject Midoriya with the virus. Now then, they were getting coffee, and they actually did find it to be a very pleasant morning, talking on the phone with one of their colleagues as they sip, their coffee. A standardized black coffee with 2 sugars and no creamer. Now, as they actually do walk outside, they're actually going over something. How the project might need to be slightly altered and changed. And that one day they might actually achieve what they're doing. However that might seem, her actually watching as Midoriya sprints straight past her at 70 miles an hour. Confused for a second as she actually does almost drop her coffee and her phone. Now, Midoriya, he didn't even look back. In fact, he didn't even think about it. He didn't even see her walk out of that shop. And as soon as he does actually run past her, he runs down 2 more buildings, before just jumping onto his feet and slowing down, as he quickly just begins to press the button. Now, as soon as he actually does do that, he tries pressing the button for the other side of the street. And he actually does turn his body, and you do see half of his face. The woman, quite surprised, readjusting her glasses as she does actually use her phone, grabbing her camera and beginning to snap photos. As she probably has 15 or 20, Midoriya is standing there with his strange limbs, before he goes back down on all 4s and goes into a sprint, or he at least builds up to getting on all 4s. Now, with that, she immediately just drops what she was talking about, and gets back on the phone with somebody, telling them that they need to talk about the project. It was a success. A success. They need to talk to everybody, find out everything, look at all the research, go over it all. They've made drastic breakthroughs in everything. Now, they are excited that their project did work. However, then there's exactly what they were trying to actually do. Now, in all of the commotion, they forgot, or this lady forgot that the actual project was to basically make somebody immune to the thing's virus and hostile takeover ability. Now, the cover story for it being a quirk experiment became a little bit too real. If you hear that lie enough, you start believing it. And she immediately just starts calling people and she sounds more frantic this time instead of excited, shouting about how Izuku Midoriya, test subject number, let's say 001, has abilities and shows signs of possible takeover. Now, with that, multiple scientists do actually begin to look at their own test subjects. The animal they injected with the virus, but that is currently running through Midoriya's blood. The animal is not hostile, and is actually somewhat more dormant or normal. Whereas every other animal test subject has, well, eventually had to be terminated, this one has shown zero signs of it. They behave perfectly normal. Or so it would seem. Now, they actually do look over a bit of records. This morning, the animal did seem to be a bit more aggravated, or possibly frantic and in a hurry. The animal was panting and someone having a panic attack. And the documented times were somewhere around 7 to 8 in the morning. And the doctor, she did actually remember what time she went into that shop. She went into that shop around 8:25 in the morning and exited about around 10 minutes to 15 minutes later with a fresh cup of coffee. And whenever she did run into Midoriya, it was 8:37. So, quite strange indeed. Now, with that being said, they actually do look at some more research and try to begin proper tests with the actual subjects. Now, it doesn't take very long, and they do a copper wire and blood test, and are able to determine that the subject is actually infected, and most likely is taken over. Now, that doesn't seem to be very weird. However, instead of the blood trying to run off and hide, it went straight back to the subject. Now, with that being said, it did seem to be worth noting. And we do actually have another part of the committee, or the people who were on board with this project. They were denied their access to meaningful evidence to study Midoriya and see if the project could have had any negative effects. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he's currently on his way home, as he is actually taking it slow today. He's not running and in a hurry like he was this morning. And in fact, he is quite happy just to take it slow, as he currently does actually stop at an intersection, watching as some cars do pass by. However, he does find it to be a bit strange. Him looking to his right, looking in front of him, and then turning around. There's nobody on the streets, and there's barely any traffic. Well, school got out at the regular time today. Then, there should be people outside right now. There should be pro heroes. Did something happen? Is there an attack going on nearby? Midoriya actually using the thing's abilities, or what he thinks to be a quirk, to grow more hair in his ear. Now, he grows these micro hair fibers as to increase the sensitivity of his hearing. And he does actually begin to hear things nearby. However, all he's hearing is cars, locomotives, and possibly faraway businesses running, and some footsteps. Okay, so he's not alone. Interesting, Midoriya thinks, as he actually does begin to undo what he currently did. And he does actually go to walk across the street. However, as soon as he does, you do actually have what happens. Somebody holds a cloth directly up to Midoriya's face and covers his nose. And Midoriya does actually feel that as he is quickly pulled backwards. And he actually does drop a lot of things, including his phone and other items he does have. Now, Midoriya quickly feels himself pass out within 3 seconds. And the state of panic he was in was also within the test subject, back at their base. Now, with that, they basically used a quirk to knock Midoriya out, and its effects were quite potent. Now, Midoriya is taken. That's a good movie. Away. Now, as that does happen, Midoriya eventually does wake up. A few hours later, in an unknown place. As he actually does have a room, and he's on a bed. There's a chair, a table, and a door. I'm actually going to stand up and bring his hand out to the table. Looking at his arm as he quickly realizes that his clothes have changed as well. And then there's a number on his shirt. 001. What the heck? Wait. Him trying to walk over and get through the door. Pushing on it, it's locked. Trying to pull on it, that's not possible. Trying to slide it, virtually impossible. Now, you do actually have an intercom on the ceiling, going off seeing that Izuku Midoriya. He is a subject that was augmented with a quirk, correct? Huh? Oh, that experiment from a long time ago. Yeah, I was. Why? Failure to report success of the operation. Is it true that you have experienced strange abilities? Or abilities that would not be considered normal or possibly even quirks? Oh, well, kinda. I don't know, it happened slowly at first. I kinda didn't even realize it. So, about that. We're going to state that from what he studied, his quirk could be considered to be adaptation, a very versatile ability. Now, with that being said, they do conduct somewhat of an interview, basically explaining his abilities, along with actually being asked if he's experienced any strange side effects or thoughts. Oh, uh, kinda. I notice I have to eat like a whole lot, otherwise I still get hungry. I don't know, I think I just don't stay full. I mean, it's probably just because I'm burning calories using this ability a lot. So I don't know. Them actually writing that down. And Midoriya asking exactly when would he be able to go home, and if this was it. Them stating that Midoriya will not be leaving the facility. Facility? Wait. Midoriya actually running up to the glass and putting his hands on it, asking if they're those very same people who did this to him. Them not responding. Midoriya actually getting somewhat angry and saying that they're just going to bring him back inside without even trying to contact him regularly. What is this? A thought coming across his mind, asking if this is really even a quirk. Now, Midoriya does begin to start freaking out, and his thoughts quickly begin to scramble and go out of control. Is this a quirk? Is this not a quirk? What is this ability? It doesn't make any sense. Now, with that, Midoriya actually does have his mind somewhat leave him for a second, as he simply just rushes back over to the glass and just begins to punch it. Now, as he does so, the person on the other side is monitoring Midoriya's behavior, noting that the subject has become highly aggressive. And Midoriya just continues to keep punching it, as his hands do begin to grow bones, and he actually just continues punching. Now, Midoriya's hands do eventually start bleeding, and the skin on his hands and his arms do appear to somewhat enlarge in muscle, as he just keeps going, punching and punching away. And the person does actually think the glass can take an anti-tank round, and that room is built to withstand a nuclear attack, and the locks on the door, it would be impossible to release. And even if Midoriya does get away, or even get out, he'd have to go through a whole lot of security. Now, with that being said, as she actually just has this thought come into her mind, Midoriya actually just throw another punch, as hard as he can. And this time, it actually just chip away at the glass, it visibly cracking. And Midoriya, he goes to cock back his hand again, smashing it, and then doing it again with his left hand. That small crack quickly getting larger, as she actually just smashed her hand down on the button. And the room is actually, well, I would say scorched, but filled with freezing liquid and cooling liquid in order to stop Midoriya. Midoriya being hit by this directly in his chest and from the roof or the ceiling. Midoriya quickly just running for cover, and he actually just jump underneath his bed and hide away in the corner. As he is actually having that thought or doing that, he actually does relive a memory within the moment. Something smashing and rocking the entire room he's in, being sent flying forwards and smashing through through a window, quickly trying to get away or run. However, it's very cold, and there's very low visibility. So he just picked a direction, and he started running. However, he didn't get very far. He was frozen solid within minutes. And Midoriya does begin to somewhat piece things together. Whatever these people did to him, it isn't a quirk. And he doesn't think it's human. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I will catch you guys in the next part.